actually say it's
recording.
It is, and welcome to another episode of Dis After Dark. I am Nick.
I'm Paul D.
I'm Craigie L.
And Paul W.
And that's it for tonight. That's all we've got. Because I mean, as you can hear, we have got an entire roster of people. It would now appear, but Chris unfortunately is stuck in an even more remote location than Mr. Boniface. It sounds like.
I think they're holed up together in a shed.
Well,
with half a gallon of honey.
Ah, I see. Well, he has been known as a honey badger, has Mr. PB, so that makes sense. Anyway, dear listener, thank you for joining us once again. As you can hear, it's been a cold start to the show. We will be from the next show. I've worked it out to be professional, or as professional as much as we can be, and music and normal service will resume. But for this show, this will be the last one of the crap sounding ones, and then from the next show we record will be good. Saying that, I mean, now I've hyped it up like that, it could take us another 3 months to record the show.
Just no pressure.
Yeah, not to put pressure on myself, but there we go. Guys, what are we drinking?
Well, I started off. I'm on the Christmas leftovers, okay? And it was
Turkey.
hot mulled wine when we started.
Sprouts.
It's now cold mulled wine, and there's not a lot left of it. So it's kind of the Disney connection is Nightmare Before Christmas, I think, or Nightmare After Christmas.
Let's see what's waiting to happen, Mr. Craig.
I'm feeling very jolly. Ho ho ho.
I'm drinking nothing.
Well, nothing
Sorry.
at all.
No, I've just parked my train up at Crewe, and I'm back in work in the morning.
Yeah,
so,
but, I mean, not water, nothing soft, literally nothing.
No, because if I drink at this, now that I'm at this age, I'm like 42. I need a wee at 4 o'clock every morning, and when you're getting up at 5:30 anyway, you don't want to get up, do you? So I'm not drinking nothing.
Yeah, but Craig, it's Royal Rumble. So in fact, if anything, you should drink a load tonight, so therefore you can get up at 1 o'clock in the morning UK time to watch it, or maybe that's just me. The other Paul.
I'm having a pint of Sweden's finest, pint of Copperberg today.
Good lad.
What variety?
I believe it's mixed fruit.
There's a few mixed fruits on here.
Yeah, sure.
And,
it was a birthday present, so.
I've had a hell of a lot worse birthday presents than a bottle of Copperberg, that's for sure. I actually posted my drink on the Facebook page while I was waiting, and it is a Coors. It's I don't know if our American listeners have this with Coors Light, but in the UK, I'm assuming Europe, but definitely the UK, Jean-Claude Van Damme advertises Coors Light.
He does,
so the bottles don't just go cold, they go damn cold. And when the Blue Mountains show up and it says damn cold, that's the optimum time to drink. So cheers, and it took me a while to find a bottle opener as well, which is almost a nightmare. But if people want to contact us to let us know what they're drinking or what we should be drinking or just about anything, they can of course visit our website. Is the website still live, Craig, or are we on just Blogspot now?
The website is churning out its usual muck because Boniface is still in prison and hasn't had a chance to shut it down yet.
Yeah, those Thai prisons are hard. So that's www.disafterdark.com. Or
if you want muck.
If you want muck.
But if you want the real deal where it's all going off, it's disafterdark.blogspot.co.uk.
And very fine it's looking as well, thanks to our new helpers. And of course, you can email us at podcast@disafterdark.com, which is still the email address and is just full of spam.
Yeah. Penis extensions, Viagra.
Are just a few of Craig's nicknames.
Yeah. Fantastic. No emails off the listeners, strangely enough.
Yeah. Mr. D.
Yes, and you can find us on Twitter at DisAfterDark. We're also on Facebook.com/DisAfterDark.
There you go. So if you do want to contact us, and I think actually, Craig, are we going to start the show off talking about this kind of thing, this kind of interaction thing? Kind of went off a bit of a tangent on the last show. to not actually too much of a mixed reaction, actually. People actually kind of apologising for not being more into it. But you've been doing a bit of work behind the scenes, so what do you say we've been doing?
Yeah, well, firstly, we're reaching out to our listenership, and we're hoping to bring in some sponsors. And we're not trying to change the world. We're not like Michael Jackson. We literally are looking to get dead. Well, we're looking for $15 a month sponsorship, basically. And so if you've got a book to sell, a villa to rent out, or a dog to polish, whatever you want to do, you can do it with us. And we've put a blog post out. And we're also going to just try and stimulate listener interaction, get people to share so they can be part of growing the podcast. You see, all these Disney podcasts will hide behind our listener figures. So no one knows. We all say, oh, yeah, we're doing really well, but no one knows what our figures are. So as an example, we're going forward, every week, just going to put out what our downloads are for the last show. So the last show for us, which was 2 weeks ago, is currently at 666.
The number of the beast.
The number of the beast, which I'm a bit worried about, to be honest.
Well, I don't know.
But the figures are going up. We've had our Christmas lull. The last big show we had was the Tokyo Disneyland one, and that's currently standing at 1,278 downloads. Right? So we're out there now. We've gone public. We've put our figures out on the blog. We've gone public with our figures. Going forward, we want the listeners, when they're listening to the show, share a link. Let's get that figure up. You know, we can all work together, and hopefully we can start smashing UUOP out the water.
Because I mean, the thing is, you know, when this show first started, and we've talked before about the history of the show, but we started because basically me and Paul B were Reggae Dolls from Disney Brit. We were found co-host applicants to go and host over there. And we were a little bit edgier than the Disney Brit. You know, Disney Brit isn't. I wouldn't say twee. I think that's discredited them a little bit, really. But they're probably more family friendly, more Disney friendly than we are. We're a lot more opinionated, especially me. But that was kind of like our angle. And so when we started it off, we were looking to really just keep ourselves entertained. And if anyone joined us for the ride, it was good. And I mean, I can't remember what those early shows were, but I mean, you know, it was the very, very low hundreds when we first started. And I mean, I think really our high, Craig, and I mean, you know more about this than I do, but I'm pretty sure it was probably when we was over on Mice Chat.
Mice Chat, yeah, we were pulling in 2,500 to 3,000 per show, and rightly or wrongly, we've left Mice Chat for our own reasons. And
I think the thing is as well, and I mean, and this goes back to what you asked for, Craig, with the sponsorship. You know, we're talking about $15 now. The reason for that, really, is we do this for free. You know, occasionally we do joke about it, but just to let you know, we don't earn any money off this at all.
No.
We do this as a hobby. And I think that really is why it gets so frustrating when we do try and get interaction, because if we disappear tomorrow, there will be some people that care. I'd like to think there's 1,200 people or so that care if we did stop tomorrow, if they're the ones that download the show. But we do this really out of enjoyment. It takes up time from our families. And we do enjoy it, but at the same time, there are times when you feel like you're banging your head against the wall and just thinking, why do I bother? And that $15 really is just to host a show on servers. I mean, if anyone wants to give us more, please do, because then we might actually be able to invest in things like decent microphones or more competent producers. Having sponsorship also makes it accountable.
and we've been hit and miss at times where we've gone 5 weeks without a show. You know, we're a fortnightly podcast. If we do have sponsorship, it will be going out fortnightly. It might not be all the team. We've got a team now of like 6 people. Boniface is away with the fairies at the moment. Chris couldn't make it tonight, but there's still 4 of us. We will have guests on in the future going forward because people do like to, listen to guests. But the old model, we were constantly at the 11th hour scratching around for the next guest. Now we've got this team of 6 people. We've got Jen Pease as well in the background, bumping around in America. She's our American host. And we've got a team now so we can put content out every 2 weeks. And having sponsorship makes you almost accountable that the show will go on. So it's not going away. But
good song title.
Show must go on.
And the thing is, Paul W, you and your good lady have helped us out with the new website, and obviously just you kind of committing your time when you can do it is again a little boost in the arm for us. And the same with Chris, and there were other people as well, Steve Maxwell and Vicky, who was actually going to be a guest on tonight and is ill, so get better soon. People like that have reached out and will help us from time to time as well. We appreciate that, and you offering to help out. But yeah, it's gone. Sorry, Craig.
Yeah, well, just having Paul and Chris come on board, it's just been like an injection of
absolutely
of heroin into the arm. It's given us all a new impetus. We're all got a fire in our belly again, and I'm excited.
Other class A's are available. Just not just heroin, a bit of meth or whatever. But yeah, I think really, actually, you kind of making us be this open about this, Craig, like you have. A kind of weight's lifted off my shoulders a little bit talking about this, because I think whenever you're open and honest about your agenda, this is us trying to be as honest and truthful as possible. There's nothing else here. Now, if we don't get sponsorship, we're not going to close down.
No.
Because that's not what we're saying here at all. It's not like we either get sponsorship or we go. It's just, we would like that help. If someone wants to support us, we'd really appreciate it. Again,
I'd like a sponsor, right, who wants to work with us and come on the show from time to time. Not just product placement. Come to my villa, it's amazing. But if there's any villa owners out there, it'd be interesting to hear their story. And they could come on the show, talk about their time in Florida, and it hopefully, if they get one sale from the sponsorship with us, that's them set up. You know what I mean? It's paid for itself, hasn't it? And
we're not looking for like a long-term commitment. So if you do, like Craig said, a good one is a villa. If you do say, for 2 months, I wanted to sponsor you, and like during a peak period when you normally try and get as many bookings as you can, or there's a bit of a lull or whatever, then do so. It's not like you sponsoring a show means you have to do it for a period of time. You tell us, and we'll kind of work around you.
And the sponsors, the advert will go out in our usual professional manner.
What manner is that?
It'll be terrible.
Oh right, good. Okay, now, as long as we're crystal clear about that, we've been quite clear so far. I didn't want us to
set the bar low, and anything else is a bonus.
Yeah. I think I don't think if anyone thinking of sponsoring shows ever heard something like what's the show I'm thinking of?
Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Yeah, you're not going to get the quality of that. We don't have a Maxwell that can do as great voices as that, but we'll give it a go. And the more creative you actually want us to be, if you do say we don't want a boring advert, we'll try and jazz something up. Don't worry. And if you want something normal, then we'll do that. But, it's all open to negotiation. So I suppose that's the state of the union address, really.
Yeah.
Really.
And now on with the show.
So, cue music. Now, Craig, again, I think it was yourself that brought this up for discussion, and that was Hollywood Studios.
No, it's Paul.
Oh,
this is all Paul's baby, yeah.
Well, Paul, I want to give credit where it's due. So why don't you tell the listeners what you mentioned last week?
It's the case of all these closures that are coming in for Star Wars. Some of them, yeah, they're due to be closed. Things like Lights, Motors, Action, I think is now due to be closed. But there's things that are quite close to people's hearts. Obviously, the Osborne Lights have gone, and the Streets of America are following, where the Osborne Lights are normally held. And I think the big one that's annoyed a few people is the writer's stop seems to be going as well, which seems to be quite beloved as like a little eatery place in the park, and it just seems like everything's closing all at once, and there's not a lot to replace it.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, the writer's stop. That's I'm gutted about that. If that is true.
Now, I've got to be honest. Like the writer's stop, because that does seem to cause the most reaction online. I'm the idiot here that didn't kind of resonate or anything. So where is the writer's stop?
Right by the Sci-Fi Diner. It's actually adjoined to the Sci-Fi Diner, so if you're waiting for a table, you can just go through the door to the left of the podium, and you're in the writer's stop. It's a little coffee shop, and the thing that you get in there, which is amazing, is the carrot cake cookie. But you get other things, and it's just a great little place to hang out, have a coffee or whatever, and it's full of Disney books and DVDs and just a nice little place.
If that's shutting down and it's linked to the Sci-Fi Diner, is the Sci-Fi Diner under threat?
No.
No.
There was mention of it, but I don't know whether it's been
really?
confirmed that anything is happening with it. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not sure whether they could possibly go down the line that might end up being the Star Wars restaurant.
Yeah.
Right. So totally a retheming of the whole. I mean, I ate in the Sci-Fi Diner in October and in August, and I love it in there. Now, Stuart, if you listen back to the podcast for the live show, he was critical of it, that you can't see what you're eating. And it has got a really strange atmosphere in there because no one's talking to each other. Everyone's silent watching the films, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, but you can't see what you're eating. I lost 2 fingers eating a burger.
Were they Stuart's?
Yeah.
They disappear when the sun don't shine.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that sounds more likely. Because, I mean, the other thing as well, which I do think we need to stress, is that it's not just Star Wars that's causing this.
Toy Story.
Toy Story as well, but no one's mentioning that.
It's been forgotten.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's because a lot of it's going to be what was seen in Paris and Hong Kong. So people know that it's going to be a little bit lame. But, well, actually, no, I mean, it's themed well, isn't it? The Toy Story lands they built are themed well. The rides just leave a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, there's very little innovation gone into them rides in Paris. I was totally underwhelmed with Toy Story Land in Paris.
It'd be interesting when I go shortly because both my children love Toy Story at the moment. And so I'm expecting their reaction to walking around it to be more impressive than what's there. But, in terms of rides, Slinky Dog Ride is boring. I've never ever done the parachute drop or RC actually, because the queue's always quite long for them and they look quite lame.
RC is quite good.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
The parachutes was the best 7 seconds of my life, I think.
Oh, I've had quite a few good 7 seconds in my life. That's something else. I mean, I think the main thing that you were getting at, Paul, not only that we're losing all of these key things in the studios, but it's what the studios is actually left with on an operating daily basis.
Yeah.
What other things? There is other things that are going as well, isn't there? Just
there's quite a chunk of that side of the park that seems to be going. And you've got to take into account at some point Star Tours is going to have to go down as well, because it's going to be rethemed.
Do you think?
Yeah, well, they're going to have to retheme it towards the new films.
It's
On
only
the
been open.
outside.
I
It's only been
think,
open,
I think
what,
the
2 years in its new form? 3 years, maybe?
2011, I think.
Was it?
It was 2011 or 2012, because after I left, sorry, after I last went, was when it went down. So yeah, it was 2011, 2012. And see, what's weird is that Star Tours in Paris goes down, I think it's the 16th of March. It's around about that date that it's going down for its refurb, for its 10-month refurb, or however long it's going to be, to Star Tours 2. Now, I know that they've thrown at least one scene in from The Force Awakens in the American version. So it's interesting now, because they're still calling it Star Tours 2. And I would have thought if they were going to really give Star Tours another shot in the arm already, that Paris would just be given that. What would be the point of upgrading to Star Tours 2 if there's going to be Star Tours 2.5 or something?
Well, I think it's more going to be due to with the outside of the building, because it's not going to fit into the theme of the new land.
Right, I get you. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the the internals will stay the same, like Paul's saying, but the outside just won't fit in any way, shape, or form.
But then they could probably keep the ride open, just with if they're just going to change the outside, because we've seen that before. I mean, I remember Universal did that with when they started The Simpsons, changing over from Back to the Future. That was still open. Like some of Back to the Future was still open while they started work changing it over to The Simpsons. I mean, it did all close eventually, but the work did start while it was still the other ride. So I mean, there is that possibility. And I mean, really, and I think the question you're asking is, can it survive as a half-day park?
Tops, I think.
I love Star Wars, right? And I can remember the hype of Star Tours 2.0 opening, the build-up. And there was touring plans, people camped outside it, and it was opening for soft openings and stuff like that. But it's still basically a walk-on now. Even, 3 or 4 years down the line, you're unlucky if you wait more than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So to base a whole land around Star Wars...
I think, though, Craig, what you've got to consider is that Star Tours, and The Simpsons is a good example of this as well, where they're simulator rides, there are certain people that hate simulator rides, number one. Secondly, because you've got quite a few ride vehicles inside the building, the time is quite quick to turn over. I'd argue probably quicker than even something like a Big Thunder Mountain, because you get 20 people into a carriage, into a vehicle, and you might have 5 or 6 of those, if not more. So the churning time of people is higher, so the turnover of people is higher. So I think when you've got the two things together, that adds up to a lot. I honestly think when you've got a whole area themed to it, look at Potter, because we have to, for that kind of thing, then it's busy. And also, you can use the example of Cars Land if you want to keep it Disney. And the other rides aren't busy, and I mean one of them's been removed or being changed, I'll say. But the main ride itself is always busy, always got hours of queues.
Yeah.
And that's mostly to do with the ride, I think. And you can't say that whole area is a failure, but it's that one anchoring attraction that makes it. And that's all it needs. And I think when it does get that, then you won't have any issues.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nick, about the simulator piece. I think that does put some people off.
And it's 3D now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't ride it anymore.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because
I come off it green.
Yeah.
I am literally green round the gills when I come off that. I don't know how these...
Big Yoda, big Scouse Yoda.
I'm trying to think of a Yoda sentence to put into Scouse. Stab you, I will.
More like a credo, I think.
Oh, no, I
Agreed.
don't understand. I love Star Wars, but to fill a land with Star Wars, I don't know if it's. I think the tide has turned on Potter myself. I just don't think it's as popular as what it was. And
I don't know. There's another film coming out.
well, that's I
End of
think
the year.
Mhm.
I think they've had to. I think they've had to go to her and say, look, you're going to have to knock something up here.
Mm.
Because Universal, I know we're talking Disney, but Universal basically put all their eggs in the Potter basket, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they certainly had until this new gate that they're looking to launch with yet more massive
Potterland.
screens. No, it won't be Potter. It'll just be more rides that contain big screens, won't it?
Sponsored by Deodian.
Yeah. All right, mate. But yeah, so I honestly don't think. I mean, look, Star Wars at the moment is still doing extremely good business. And also, you've got to remember as well, as popular as those Harry Potter films were and the books, Star Wars has taken more money. This film has taken more money than any of the Potters. And as a film series, then it has as well. So the popularity is unparalleled. Look at the merchandising with Star Wars compared to Potter. Now this is going to be extremely geeky, but it is me.
I think it's about the rides, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day,
it's about the rides as well.
yeah,
But
if they're good, I mean, look at Toy Story Mania, right? I mean, Toy Story was years ago. Toy Story 3 was years ago, but you can still not get a fast pass for Toy Story Midway Mania.
Point,
So if they get the rides right, and they've got the theming and restaurants and the merchandise and all of that, it'll be fine. It'll be good.
Do we, Paul W? Have you got an idea of what these rides are going into Star Wars Land? Because I've got absolutely no idea.
I think the main one's going to be that you actually get to go on the Millennium Falcon, but they've not really confirmed how involved it is and what it actually does. And then the second ride is basically you're dropped into the battle between the First Order, like we saw in the film. I think it's going to be similar to when Finn takes on the Stormtrooper.
Right.
I think it's going to be similar to that. It's going to kind of drop you in that battle.
So that could that be something like the Spider-Man type ride system?
I would
3D
think so.
maybe.
It sounds very much like it could be.
Oh, I've literally just had a shiver then.
I would be shocked. I mean, the thing is, like, Spider-Man is now, 16 years old?
Yeah, must be.
No, 17 years old, 99, wasn't it? That Islands Adventure Open. And yet that technology, number one, is still great. But secondly, Disney have never done anything with it.
Yeah.
They've never done a version of... Well, no, sorry, tell a lie. Ratatouille is... But, it wasn't as exciting or exhilarating as Spider-Man was. So, now could be the perfect time to do something of that ilk, certainly.
Yep.
And also as well, I can't remember if we talked about it in the last show, but did we talk about like the virtual reality coaster at Alton Towers?
Don't think we did.
So I don't know if people have heard about this, but essentially,
I heard it on an unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. I think.
Oh really?
I think Lee and Tracy got into a bit of an argument about it.
They must be getting no news from Universal then, because what they've done is it's the air ride at Alton Towers, I believe, and what they're doing is you'll be wearing a headset like an Oculus Rift style virtual reality headset. So think about what you would have tried out in an arcade in like the early 90s, but weighs a lot less and the technology's better. And you go on the ride, but you're wearing this headset, so it's letting you. It's kind of they're making you see what they want you to see. So you're moving as you would do, but
you're not going to have people throwing up in them headsets.
Well, your mouth, because it only covers your top of your head and your eyes, so it doesn't matter.
But and
you won't know.
Like Tracy said on their show, if that technology is slightly out of sync with the ride that you're actually physically feeling, aren't you going to go? I'm a train driver, right? And if I go on my Pendolino as a passenger, I get travel sick. because I'm sitting in a different place in the train, looking out of different windows.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite weird. I mean, I tried it about 18 months ago, I think, and the demo of it was a ride not dissimilar to like Big Thunder Mountain. And literally wherever you looked, it's like 360 degrees. Wherever you looked, you could see something. So you could see over the side of the track, or you could look at some birds flying in the air. It was very strange. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with it. But I don't think the syncing will be too much of an issue. But I just think the because you have a bit of control about what you see, where you're looking at the time, that could interfere and probably make you sick. But that this is like the next big thing. This is what they're talking about as being the next big technology for theme park rides. So
well, you can go on YouTube now, can't you? On Universal's feed and ride their coasters as 360-degree videos with your phone.
Can you really?
Yeah, I've done it. It's brilliant. You can look down at your feet. You can look up at the sky. So the technology's there.
Yeah, because I did a Star Wars one actually.
Oh.
For the Force Awakens, you went on Rey's bike on Jakku, and that was quite fun. Yeah, so yes, I mean the tech's good. The tech is good, but I do understand the kind of point of view of the motion. Yeah.
Have we had any feedback from the Facebook group about the Hollywood? I'll give my tuppence worth before we go over to Facebook. Me personally, I think they should shut Hollywood Studios.
Oh.
I think it's an absolute disgrace that half the park is shut. Basically, when the railway goes down, we put on rail replacement buses. So for the same price, you get an inferior journey. That's what they're doing with Hollywood Studios at the moment. They're charging the same price and they're filling it with dining experiences, meet and greets. You're paying the same money for an inferior product. Shut it.
Well. Okay, then I'll shut it. I was going to
I didn't know if that was you or not.
No, he told me to shut it, and he's a scouser. I'm scared. He'll stab me. No, all right, then I won't shut it. I suppose the only sort of the other side to that one is, if they shut it, they'll lose money, and you don't really want it to be such an impact when they try and invest on that kind of scale that it hurts them so much that they never want to do it. So I do agree that if you're paying full price, you're not getting value for money. So I do think they should drop the price of the short-term tickets. Fair enough if you're going for 2 weeks and you've got a 2-week park hopper, right? It doesn't make that much of a difference. You've still got the Magic Kingdom, you've still got Epcot, you've still got the Animal Kingdom. You got the water parks, Downtown Disney, and if you've got half of Hollywood Studios, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. But if you're paying full price on a one-day ticket, then it doesn't make any sense. So I do think they should drop the price of the short-term tickets.
Mr. Washington.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'd probably agree that it isn't worth paying the full price at the moment. As Paul just said, if it's included in a 2-week park hopper, I don't think it's too much of a problem. But it's for the people that are going to the gate and paying full price on the day, and they get in there and find there's about 4 rides, and that's it that's in there. So it's definitely shortchanging people, I think, in that sense.
I mean, do Disney still have this policy where they don't build of a daytime? Is it all done still of a night?
I think so.
So they don't. But Universal don't really give a monkeys, and they build 24 hours a day, and the stuff goes up in 3 times quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Disney could just pull the finger out and build bigger walls to hide it all behind.
Yeah.
Or turn the music up a little bit so we can't hear the hammers going.
Well, I think that's where Universal have that, because Universal is quite a loud park, isn't it? Because of everything that's going on around there. So I don't think you would notice the noise quite as much anyway. But I think you just have to be creative as well, because You know what? I can understand them not doing any external work during park hours, but you can get away with doing a lot inside a building without much noise leaking out.
Well, they probably are doing that type of stuff already, the inside stuff, but
Mm.
it's a theme and the external theming that.
Yeah, and that normally takes quite a lot of time as well. Yeah, I mean, I personally am of the persuasion that really it's half a park, you should pay half the price.
Yeah.
Now, I liked your idea about shutting it, and the thing is, I understood what you said, Paul, about them shutting it, but I agree with Craig. It's not a way of them losing money. If anything, it's a way of them making money, because what they would have to do is, they wouldn't have to have like all the staff. So you have people at Disney which are permanent, and you'll also have people that are seasonal. Well, those seasonal people, if you didn't really have the need to have them in a hotel or another park or something like that, well then, see you later, contact us when we reopen in 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
You cut the wage bill down. And there might be other parts of the park which are short-staffed because of trying to save a bit of money, where they can then, because they've got to still pay people, just get the staff to do work on other rides and actually speed things up. So I don't think there's too many negatives, but I do think that it's a cheeky ask to expect people to enjoy it as a full day experience when it's hardly one at all. Craig, have you seen? I would say our Facebook is blowing up.
Oh, is
kids
it?
would say. Well, when I say blowing up, I mean people are talking about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I'll let you jump on, but I'll read the first comment here, which is from our dear friend Vicky, who says, and this was after your first of all your post, Craig, but also your response to it as well. She says, in a way, I think it's actually a decent idea. It means we go there with the assumption loads will be closed with the promise of something better. However, for my family, a lot of the things we enjoy most are still open, and with the Star Wars mad husband and son, they don't care about the construction as long as it means Star Wars is coming. I feel sorry for the vast majority of people who go for the average 2-week holiday and know nothing at all of the construction. And I mean, I think that's the thing. And Mr. Washington, when we first had you on the show, and we was talking about Disneyland Paris, we kind of talked about at that point about, really the next couple of years is not the time to go to Disneyland Paris, because they're going through a similar thing to what Hollywood Studios is going through at the moment, except theirs is across both parks and, probably for a longer period of time.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a very similar situation for both parks at the moment.
Very interesting stuff indeed. Craig, was there any comments there you saw that you wanted to pull out?
Yeah, I mean, Gaz Powell, he's got the big red lightsaber. Does that mean he's a baddie?
I think, to be honest, it was just the cooler of the two options.
All right, okay. Yeah. Well, he puts, I'm not sure about a ticket reduction, whether it would work. Is anyone deciding to buy a one-day ticket to go to Disney's Hollywood Studios? They must be, otherwise they wouldn't sell them. That's me saying that. For most, it's just a filler. When they want to change from the parks that are currently better, it's still getting bums through the turnstiles. Well, they've done that with the fireworks, haven't they, to get people in. So the demand must still be there. Hopefully some of the expansion at Star Wars or Toy Story Land next year will appease the folk a bit. Yeah, they've had to do something for the park, and what they've done, we seen the Frozen fireworks last year. It's now the Star Wars fireworks, whatever they're called, and they are phenomenal. They throw a lot of money at them fireworks. They literally blow your socks off.
And there's another expense that's safe.
Yeah,
those fireworks, as you say, are not.
It's not a half-baked effort. It's stunning.
Alex Harvey said that they have come in for so much criticism in the past for the amount of time it takes to do anything new. Perhaps they're hoping that by closing so much, they can do the whole thing rather than in stages. I do agree about the entrance fee, but they won't, as I know people will still go people equals spend, especially with Star Wars fever, and there are still some major headliners open like the Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Star Tours, etc. Which, yeah, is valid. I suppose it might be. We obviously have to look at it for what's happening now, but I think if we were looking at Toy Story Mania going down for 6 months or something like that, with all this going on as well, I think it'd call even more into needing to do something about the park, because they are kind of like the key things, and I suppose the things that they have closed. How many people are missing the American Idol experience, for example?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Or Sounds Dangerously or something.
No.
Maybe someone's a big fan. I don't know.
Well, it wasn't as bad as people made up, but it was a minor attraction. It wasn't a big deal.
See, I got quite sad when the Art of Animation tour closed, because I like that. Just one last one, I'll say, from Alex Treen, who said, if they close it, think of all the poor people that have saved up to go.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Closed and they'll never get to go again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like they've just announced this stuff today. Yeah. This has been a period of announcement of closures, and if you're planning to do something, I would be looking ahead and going, right. The thing is, I wouldn't book my holiday 2 years in advance, for example. I might start saving, but I wouldn't be booking it. So therefore, I'd have the chance to move that if I wanted to. If you're just booking it and have no interest in finding out what's there and what's not there, then fair enough. But you'd think some people would do their research. And Michelle Young said that she agrees half a park equals half entrance fee.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they're going to shut it. They will make money on it. There's still some good attractions left. You got Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster, Toy Story. Plus, you got a couple of shows. Fantasmic. So, yeah, they'll either leave it as it is, and then they'll let people make a decision, or I don't know if they'll drop the price. I doubt it, but I think the good thing is everybody was chuffed when we heard that they were investing in the studios, and it needs it. Let's be honest. The backlot tour was a shell of what it should be, and so it definitely needs it. So I just got to grin and bear it, really.
I've always wondered why Beauty and the Beast isn't not replaced, but why can't they alternate? Put a Frozen show in with Beauty and the Beast, and then use the theatre, because it's only a stage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just change the props in the background. You've got a whole new audience. But that's another topic for another show, maybe.
I suppose, possibly, yeah. Right, again, we haven't got the music, but I did have a rant, which is separate to what we talked about earlier on. So, Craig, do you want to kind of pump me in?
Do you want me to do like a little jingle for you?
Yeah.
And now here's some dishes, soapbox. That's like 70s rock.
I think we've got a new jingle, people. So, it's not going to be too long-winded, but recently I found out, we've talked about the fact that I'm now a proper Essex boy rather than a fake Essex boy.
You like women's clothes?
And I do like women's. Yeah, of course I do. I prefer them off, but I like them on as well. But that's another soapbox. But where I used to live, or used to be near to, we had a Disney store, and in fact, I was trying to think about it, and I think it could have actually, me going there could have preceded me going to Euro Disney in 1992. Stop crying, Craig. And emotional enough, I don't need you joining in as well. So I think it must have opened in Romford about 1991 or thereabouts, maybe a bit earlier. and it was the first Disney store I ever went to. It had the pyramid of cuddly toys. Do you remember those in Disney stores?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
and kids diving into them, and then people still supposedly trying to buy them. But they were fun times, and they literally announced 7 days before it shut that it was closing, just like that. And just like that. And I contacted the Disney Store Facebook page in the UK, and asked them, you know, what it was, you know, why it was being closed and that kind of thing, and got a very long and generic private message back about, you know, the kind of fluff Disney love to do when people don't know the answer, you know, magical experiences and new opportunities and all this kind of stuff, which didn't answer the question at all, didn't address what I was saying. And the thing is, Disney stores, they have been closing. You know, a lot of people will be able to tell us about their local areas. I mean, Bristol used to have about 3 Disney stores and now have none at all.
The Disney store in Liverpool is a tat shop.
Really?
It's constantly got a super sale on, and the staff are lovely. So I'm not having a go at the staff when you listen to it and see me in there. I love yous all, but yous are selling crap that you can get at a car boot sale.
And I mean, Gareth Maybank contacted me on Twitter knowing that I live nearby, to tell me, and when I said that I knew already, he then took a picture that was taken 2 days after the store closed, and it was already completely boarded up so you couldn't see into it, so they're changing it into a new shop already. So they've wasted no time, 7 days, announcement, closure, gone. And, you know, Brighton lost their Disney store, Bristol lost their 3. There's been about 7 or 8 in the last couple of years, and in that time no new stores have opened up. And I got their generic response, and I went back to them and said, you know, what I thought was magical about a Disney store, and especially being a parent now, my daughter loved going in there because the Romford store had a life-size statue of Sully, which she was fascinated by, and you know, she used to be able to pose in front of it, and because of her height, it looked like she was boo sized. It was really cute, but she loved running around there and looking at the new things and trying to get us to buy her more stuff than she actually needed. And you know, you could just see the wonder on her face. And I guess the reason why Disney Store are doing this, and they didn't reply back to me, so I can't say for sure, but is that they're outsourcing so many of their products now to other companies. Hasbro have just taken over their dolls. Obviously, nearly all of their Star Wars merchandise is made by other companies. Filmation is dead. It's going to Funko's Pop line. Before everyone hates me for it, not completely. But Disney are outsourcing a lot of stuff. And so why do you need a Disney store when you can buy the goods in Clinton Cards, you can buy the goods in Smith's Toys, you can buy your goods in Toys R Us, you can buy your stuff in supermarkets. What do you need a Disney store for? But those shops aren't Disney. They don't have the staff that love Disney. They don't have the appearance of a Disney store. They don't have that atmosphere. They don't have that fun. They're a shop that just sells the same Disney tat that you can get in a Disney store. It's not the same thing. It's not magical. So Disney stores, like, I know what you're doing. I know why you're doing it. And like everything, it's to save money. But just for once, think about the consumer and not just about the bottom line. And think about what people like to do. I've never gone to a Disney store and it's been a ghost town. You've always got people in a Disney store. Sometimes a few, sometimes many. But they're never completely dead. There's a market for it, and you're just alienating people. And that makes me mad.
Whew. I felt the rage. Did you feel the rage then, people?
Yeah.
That was my stomach. I'm quite hungry. I don't know why, but I am. But do you know what I mean, though? Like, you know, going into Argos and buying some Disney merchandise is not the same, is it?
No, you're right.
No.
Oh,
All right, it's probably cheaper as well.
My girls adore the Disney store, and we do, and we make a special trip whenever we're in Liverpool city centre. We go to the Disney store.
Yeah.
regardless of what we're going into town for, we always go to Disney Store.
But we've taken trips into Romford just to go to a Disney Store. You know, just Alice might have some birthday money. We'll go to a Disney Store because no doubt there'll be something in there that she wants. You know, but we'd go there just for that.
I think that they've been throwing a lot of shit against the wall, haven't they? And some of it sticks, and they haven't got an identity anymore. Like I say, it's just full of tat now. The Vinylmation's on a bottom shelf. The Duffy stuff's is in the whoopsie bin now. You know what I mean? It's just
they still have Duffy stuff.
Well, I mean, they did have, but then everything's marked down. There's a great big pile of stuff in the middle of the store, which is all being marked down, which is stuff that they were never selling anyway.
But the problem is that a good example I think is like Disney Infinity. I actually bought Disney Infinity in the last when it was Disney Infinity 2. I bought it in the sale before Disney Infinity 3 came out because it was like, I don't know, 15 quid. But its markup, its original price was like 40 quid. Now, that was cheaper everywhere. Yeah. They never reduced it down until they had a sale. You know, like HMV might knock it down for 25 quid for a week or something. But Disney wouldn't do that. They'd wait until they had the sales. So, at the same time, they're their own worst enemy. But, I mean, I think the perfect example of where they're doing this kind of synergy stuff is the Zoom Zooms, which we talked about before, those little slug things.
Yeah.
Because you can buy those in Disney Store, and they're made for Disney stores. But you can buy them in Clinton Card, you can buy them in Smith's, you can buy them in Asda, you can buy them in Wilkinson's. And they're made by another company under license for Disney. And they look exactly the same. They aren't. They do, like the ones that you buy outside of a Disney store are filled with more stuffing. And they've got different tags on them. But, you know, they're based on the same template. So, you know, blindly looking at them on a shelf, you wouldn't probably be able to tell much of the difference. But, you know, that's a perfect example of where something really did well in a Disney store, but you can now buy elsewhere.
And cheaply as well. Apparently Wilkinson's were knocking them out for £1 last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't have any good ones in my one, so I wouldn't have... I need some Alice in Wonderland ones for my daughter, but just crappy Snow White and Seven Dwarf ones. Anyway, that's enough about that. But yeah, I mean, if you feel the rage, if you agree, you know, maybe they'll listen to us. And if you want to contact the show so we can send on your responses to the Disney Store, of course, you can visit one of our websites. You can either visit www.DisAfterDark.com or...
If you want retro.
Yeah. Or...
DisAfterDark.blogspot.co.uk.
And, of course, the email address for those is podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
We're still on Twitter at DisAfterDark and Facebook.com/DisAfterDark.
And insert your advert here.
Yes. Advertising spiel.
Other forms of advertising are available.
But not really supported by ourselves, I suppose. But that was all I really had for show notes and stuff like that. Was there anything before? We've got a few minutes left of what we normally do. Did anyone want to bring anything up to close the show, or?
No, I'm all right.
Yep. So when are you off to Disneyland Paris then, Nick?
Yes. Next week.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the great thing about podcast. When I say next week, by the time you listen to this, it could be, or you could have already missed me going there, or I could have gone 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just say next week. So yeah, the beginning of Feb, I'll be out there. We're just trying to finalise how we're exactly getting there because having 2 small children, we have a double buggy which is massive. Well, pretty big. Or we do have the option of 2 pushchair strollers, and we're trying to decide what would be the best, not just the easiest, but the best use of doing that while we're there, because you know they don't need to sleep at the same time, but they might get tired. So then the double book is a good idea, but then you'll be struggling to get around the shop. Excuse me, they'll be struggling to get around the shops. So maybe the single buggy approach might be better. It's just, it's an awkward one. It's an awkward one. And also, my son hasn't got his passport.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, we applied for it in plenty of time, but there was an error with, or they weren't satisfied with one of the signees of the photo. Didn't mark all their qualifications or something, and so they've pushed back, which I've only just found out about yesterday, so I'm very angry because they haven't got many days to get it to us, and I'll be putting my foot down if I don't hear anything by Tuesday. But hopefully we'll be able to go. If not, let's stay here.
Now, we're not promising anything, but we're going to try and bring some, do what I did in October and do some live shows.
I can't do that. It won't be as good as that. But yes, I am going to try and record some audio while I'm at the parks. And so we'll see what happens. I tried to record some audio the last time I went with some funky earphones, but it didn't really work. So that was going to be our window to the magic special at Disneyland Paris, but it didn't really work out. So I'm going to try a method that Craig used and see how that goes. But I've got to be honest, I'm really excited, which is, I mean, it's, I always get excited when you go to a Disney park, but Alice, luckily, is at the moment completely obsessed with Alice in Wonderland. She never used to care for it, but all of a sudden it's become her favourite Disney film. And she sings along to the songs, and she's only just starting to talk, so it's all very cute. And now she says, "Yes, Your Majesty," but she can't say all the words, so it sounds more like "Yes, Nasty." But it's adorable, and when Tweedledee and Tweedledum come on, she grabs my hand so we can do the little dance that they do. And I think, because they've now got a nice one that I meet and greets, I think that'll be really good. And my little boy at the moment gets so excited when Mickey Mouse comes on the telly. He runs right up to it. And then as soon as he disappears, he'll be right back on the sofa, but he runs right up to the TV every time he comes on. So that meet and greet should be a lot of fun. So so for those reasons, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not really bothered about going on the rides, to be honest. It's all about just seeing their faces, meeting characters and stuff like that. But I will say, having gone a couple of times now, going as a parent compared to going as a Disney fan, it's great to go as a Disney fan, but there's like an extra element when you've got children involved as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Take your hankies with you.
Nah, it'll be alright. It'll be alright. That's for the wife. That is.
No.
When Alice was in a Christmas performance, she did about 5 seconds. She walked around on the stage floor, kind of in a weird donkey-like outfit. Didn't have any lines or anything like that. Just did a little walk around, picked up a Christmas tree, and walked off. And my wife was in floods. It was cute, but it wasn't. I didn't have that emotional thing.
You will.
Possibly. But if she meets like Alice or something like that, I probably will be an absolute wreck because I'm an idiot. But well, in that case, I'll see you on the other side of the trip. For those staying up or watching it when the show goes out, enjoy the Royal Rumble, which has nothing to do with Disney at all, but it's the time of year I start getting excited about wrestling for about 3 months. Then WrestleMania happens, and then I don't watch it again for another 8 months. But for those that enjoy that kind of thing, have fun with that. And I guess we're back in about 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we get any sponsors. Thank you for joining us, listeners. Thank you for joining us all. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Here's to Hulk Hogan.
He's racist. We can't say that anymore.
Oh. Here's to the Ultimate Warrior.
He's dead.
Oh. Here's to the Undertaker.
He's always been dead.
I was going to say.
I'm going to bed then.
Fair enough.
See you later.